The Power Rangers have faced some truly terrible foes over the years, but none have made the battle so close to home as Lord Zed. This cosmic villain has long been one of the Rangers' most dangerous foe, with an army of evil minions and his own enormous physical prowess. Interestingly, he was the first major American design character in the Power Rangers. While most others were Japanese rip-offs, he was also initially thought to be too scary for kids and thus made goofier. In this video, we bring you a complete breakdown of Lord Zed's anatomy, so keep on watching. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. What is the secret behind his no-skin appearance? Although we already know that he is a fearsome antagonist, his past gives him a memorable and intriguing quality. Specifically, the incident that turned him into a fleshy monster. You know, he didn't always look like exposed playing flesh and sinewy muscles. This is the tale of how he came to possess the iconic and, for many, terrifying Lord Zed appearance. According to Power Rangers lore, thousands of years ago, the Guardians and Council of Eltar, who were responsible for protecting Eltar and the entire world, had a disagreement that needed more than just words to be resolved. When the Guardians discovered the Zeo Crystal, they narrowly avoided letting the uncontrollable legendary object fall into the hands of evil. Unfortunately, during this time, Zordon nearly perished in this endeavor to stop Dark Spectre's killer. As a result of the Council's inaction in response to this stunning development, Zofram, the Supreme Guardian, decided to operate independently of them, essentially turning into a rogue soldier. As a result, Zofram launched an effort to take over the Zeo Crystal at Bandora Palace so that he could harness its power and protect those he cared about. Now, before we go further, let's talk about the Zeo Crystal. In essence, the Zeo Crystal is a tremendously powerful object that continuously produces enormous amounts of energy. It played a crucial role in the events and happenings leading up to Power Rangers Zeo, and even served as the power source for the Zeo Rangers. Thus, the legendary artifact had to be safeguarded in order to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands, because it had a great deal of power. Because of this, a force field was produced around the crystal that was designed to annihilate anyone who came into contact with it without having purely good intentions and being of a pure heart. Because Zofram was not acting with only good intentions, the force field activated when he attempted to take control of the Zeo Crystal, which resulted in a tragic catastrophe. While the intent of this act was rather noble since he wanted to overthrow the dominion of Dark Spectre, what it ultimately achieved was it transformed Zofram into the dreaded, wicked Lord Zed. Unfortunately, prior to Zofram's attempt to harness the power of the artifact, Zartus had already cast the flame of truth magic on the Zeo Crystal when it was still dark. Due to Zofram's erroneous decision, an incredible explosion swept across the moon's surface, leaving just Bandora Palace standing in the once bright and lush landscape. The explosion also scarred him terribly, evidently burning off his skin, and thus he took on a new hideous shape that would continue to torment kids' nightmares for at least 10 years. What does Lord Zed look like under his mask? If you try and remember properly, for the longest time, the franchise never showed us what Lord Zed's face looked like. He always wore a metallic mask with metal bars covering his teeth, and while this sort of face armor did make him scarier, it did always make fans wonder, what does Lord Zed look like under his mask? Well, his face has been revealed after many long years of waiting, and it's just as hideous as fans have expected it to be. It was revealed in the Boom Studios Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic series early this year. In this comic series, there aren't many megalomaniacal threats with as recognizable look as the fearsome Lord Zed. The Power Rangers' former foe is a truly terrifying sight to behold with his sinewy build, exposed brain, and menacing faceplate. Zed's position as the Power Rangers' main foe was in peril when Rita Repulsa's return caused upheaval in the Rangers universe. Zed was humiliated like never before after suffering a crushing defeat at the hands of Rita, who then became known as Mistress Vile in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 102, which finally provided fans a glimpse at the frightening appearance of the original Rangers foe. Zed's face actually looked as skeletal as fans might have predicted. This was how it went down. After receiving a distress message from their intergalactic adversary, the Rangers battled Mistress Vile in Lord Zed's lunar lair in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 102 by Melissa Flores and Simona de Gionfelice. Zed was seen to be defeated and lying on the floor on his his back when the Power Rangers villain showed off her newfound dominance by pulling off his faceplate as a retaliation for his betrayal. Even though Lord Zedd and the majority of the Power Rangers made it out alive, it was evident that the dynamic between the two opposing sides would never be the same again, thanks to a single mask. As for what he looked like underneath the mask, he had a skeletal face with his brain exposed and his eyes sunken in the deep hollows of his cranium. There was no nose, just a cavity, since he didn't have any cartilage. He did not have any ears either. What he did have, though, was a full row of teeth and sinewy muscle and flesh all around the exposed bone. Truly a terrifying sight to witness. It might even be that Zedd decided to cover up his face since he also hated how he looked, or it reminded him of the fateful incident that made him like that. Either way, he was a complex character, and this simply added to his story. Did Lord Zedd have a specialized vision? Zedd is incredibly powerful and has a vast range of powers and abilities. However, a power that stands out for him is his unique vision. He possesses a special vision that has the potential to be telescopic in nature. Zedd does not need a seeing aid like Rita's telescope to see what is happening on Earth from this vantage point. This power manifests as a crimson beam of light that descends from Zedd's visor to Earth. It's unclear what this vision involves or how Zedd discerns secret information. However, he is pretty much able to zoom in on whatever he wishes. This power also appears to have some X-ray vision capabilities because Zedd has repeatedly observed what is happening within buildings, which means he is able to see through objects and obstructions. Lord Zedd also appeared to possess some form of intergalactic or cosmic vision, as demonstrated by the Rangers' visit to Edenoi, which allowed him to observe events occurring in a totally different solar system. All of this allows him to constantly spy on the Rangers and keep an eye on them. Can Lord Zedd manipulate electricity? Lord Zedd has been seen manipulating electricity in numerous ways and on multiple occasions. In fact, this one is arguably his most visually striking power. Zedd literally created a thunderstorm on the moon in his debut. Need we say more? This was showed that he had the ability to manipulate electricity, specifically lightning. But that was not all. It was first demonstrated in the episode The Mutiny Part 3 after the Tyrannosaurus Dinozord and Dragonzord were set free from his grasp. Lord Zedd could also charge up his fist with white electricity. He was seen smashing it down on the balcony railing with enough force to warp the metal. This particular power was known as the Electric Strike. Further, after the death of the Bloom of Doom, Lord Zedd began hurling random bolts of white lightning throughout the throne room from his palm. Zedd was also spotted launching white lightning beams from his palm in a surveillance video that General Shaw played at the conclusion of Ultimate Mystery. This showed that he could pretty much conjure up lightning bolts and use them as weapons if he wanted to. Lord Zedd also had the ability to strengthen himself by charging himself with red and white lightning, as was seen in the Old Foes Dino Fury episode. Thus, it is safe to say that Lord Zedd was a master at electricity manipulation.
I will witness not only the birth of my own evil warriors, but also the final destruction of the power.
Was Lord Zedd intelligent? Zedd has also proven to be exceptionally brilliant, but the network's efforts to tamp him down prevented his genius from showing through later on, and he became quite a brutish villain. One incident where his smarts really shined was the time when he pitted the Rangers against the Machine Empire in the hopes that they would fight it out and annihilate one another by deceiving them into thinking he had given up. He used the fact that the Machine Empire had suffered severe losses as an opportunity to deliver a bomb disguised as a peace gift. Why he didn't do that to the Power Rangers is beyond me. He most likely chose to employ a cunning plan and a powerful creature to assert his authority as a villain, since he was too proud to use such a simple strategy against his most formidable opponents. Further, in comparison to other villains, including his subordinate and future wife Rita, Lord Zedd also seemed to have a more strategic intellect. Since he realized that the Rangers' ability to work together as a team was their greatest strength, many of his tactics entailed attempting to divide or confuse them. In contrast, Rita was much more straightforward during her time working alone, as he attempted to establish his own evil squad of human Rangers on two distinct occasions and transformed the Rangers into children on another. He did not only stick to the conventional strategies of simply sending out monsters. He was creative and had the brain of a tactician, constantly cooking up new and unique traps for the Rangers. He adored using psychological torture. In regard to his monsters, Lord Zedd also frequently used artifacts that were particularly significant to one or more of the Rangers to create them. He then psychologically attacked the Rangers in an effort to render them ineffective in his conflict with Zordon. All of this goes to show that he was extremely intelligent. He wasn't just a brute of a man with immense power, he also knew how to use his brain. How physically strong was Lord Zed? Possibly on par with Zordon in terms of strength, Lord Zed was more formidable than any of his henchmen and the original Power Rangers. He was actually incredibly physically strong. His superhuman physical powers were on full display the time he fought Void Knight and Slider. Lord Zed was able to easily beat both of them, picking up Void Knight above his head with one hand and kicking Slider across the room with only one kick. Lord Zed also often demonstrated his superior hand-to-hand fighting skills in addition to his magical prowess. One time, he easily defeated Tommy in combat, and that made everyone realize just how physically strong Lord Zed actually was. Tommy employed his standard martial arts while Zed used boxing strikes and staff swings along with his powerful magic bolts and showed that even in a physical battle, he could really hold his own. Another example of this is when the 5 Dino Fury Rangers, Wolfgang and Brian Blast, were all easily dispatched by him because he was stronger than Void Knight and his goons. He is not one to be messed with or without magic. Does Lord Zed have romantic inclinations? Can he reproduce? Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa's romance is one for the history books. All Power Rangers fans are abundantly aware of their affair, marriage, and subsequent affection for each other. During their time working together, Rita and Lord Zed had a fairly tumultuous relationship that frequently entailed yelling and insults. In fact, it almost seemed like they were constantly competing with each other to be the better villain and defeat the Power Rangers. In arguably one of the best Power Rangers episodes, a 3-parter titled The Wedding, Rita concocted a sinister plan that fundamentally altered her relationship with Zed. With the hope that he would marry her and give her the Moon Palace, she used a love potion to make Lord Zed fall in love with her. The potion worked and the two got married, but as they watched the Power Rangers vanquish their enemies, their once loving relationship rapidly turned to resemble a quarrelsome old married couple. To the dismay of some fans and the delight of others, Zed stayed married to Rita despite being duped into the union, and the two went on to become one of the craziest yet somehow quite adorable married couples on television. Surprisingly, despite their ongoing arguments, the two did seem to grow to love one another. So while Zed was essentially duped into the marriage, she did end up loving Rita. Further, Rita and Lord Zed also managed to get busy and conceive a child despite all their arguments. This child only made an appearance as the villain Thrax in the 2-part Once a Ranger episode that aired during Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. Thrax tried to be the evilest being he could be since he found his parents' goodness repulsive. Thus, he set out to restore his parents' cruel legacy. He resembled his father quite a bit physically, and he even had a Z-staff of his own. His half-human face and the orange adornment around his horns, which was reminiscent of Rita's attire, were some of the features he shared with his mother. His jaw resembled that of Rito Rivolto, his uncle. Additionally, Thrax was held captive in a spaceship exactly like his mother before he managed to break free and unleash his evil onto the world. However, a major question is, when did Rita and Zed conceive him? The show never tells us concretely when they made time for a baby. Thus, there are a few theories regarding the conception and birth of Thrax. He was supposedly conceived during Power Rangers Zeo and was born during the events of Power Rangers Turbo, according to the most popular theory. It is said that his parents' magical and alien backgrounds caused his age to accelerate, resulting in him looking like a full-grown being in his first appearance despite not much time having gone by. Others think that when he appeared in Once a Ranger, he may have genuinely been thousands of years old and had traveled from the future into the past. Well, which theory would you believe? Tell us in the comment section below.
Cockroaches you are, and burn this planet to a cinder!
Is Lord Zed immortal? This one is an age-old question. After all, villains love being immortal. Many of them even die seeking immortality, but as far as Lord Zed is concerned, it is reported that Lord Zed lived for at least 10,000 years without aging. So while we don't know for sure if he was genuinely immortal and could survive or withstand any and all types of injury, he is close to being an immortal. He had a special secret that was likely the source of his long lifespan. Evidently, even the great Lord Zed needed to take a short nap in order to recharge for the following 100 years. He had a device he could plug in to charge up, which would guarantee that his powers remained intact and he remained as youthful as possible. However, just because he was near immortal did not mean that he was undefeatable. We are in fact aware of his two key weaknesses. First off, according to Zordon in the episode The Ninja Encounter Part 2, Lord Zed reportedly couldn't break or bypass the laws of nature and thus could not randomly use his magic magic limiting his powers. Lord Zed also needed his staff to do magic despite being a tremendously powerful wizard. He couldn't fight or perform spells if it was shattered like it was when he battled Tommy. Therefore, he would have to flee, thus he is definitely beatable under the right circumstances. One of the most recognizable antagonists to ever go up against the Power Rangers was Lord Zed. If not for him, the Power Rangers would not have a job of defending the Earth, as is abundantly clear from what we know of his life and wicked actions. In a sense, he provided the Power Rangers the chance to display their abilities, turning them into legendary heroes. He was unquestionably one of the scariest villains to ever appear on a children's series at the time, and devoted viewers will remember being genuinely terrified by both his appearance and behavior. The plot also gave Lord Zed a satisfactory conclusion in which he transformed into a decent person, showing children that you can always turn to good. How about you guys? What are your thoughts on Lord Zed? Which one of his special powers did you find the most surprising? Comment down below with your answers and let us know. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.